All right, guys, here I am again today. I'm here with my mom, Judy. Say hello, Judy.
Hi.
So my mom's really cute. She actually texted me last week and said, "Hey, Doug, I think it would be great if you did a video of an old lady face." So I kind of laughed and I said, "You're not an old lady, but I would love that, and I think my viewers would love that too." So just really quickly, you'll notice I'm wearing my mask. My mom is not wearing a mask today. She's been vaccinated already for COVID. I just got a negative test for COVID. However, for precautions, I am going to still wear my mask. Yeah, we're going to just jump right in. And so I did a couple of things to prep my mom's skin before we even jumped on camera. So I'm going to tell you what I used really quickly. She came with a nice clean face, so I just went in and exfoliated her skin with the NARS Multi-Action Hydrating Toner. I love this product because it just removes any dry, dead skin, so you can actually get the moisturizer in. And then I did notice she was a little drier, so what I did is went in with the NARS Aqua Gel Luminous Mask, all about plumping and hydration. Really great mask for this time of year. How's your skin feel?
It feels great.
Good.
Yeah.
So we're going to just jump right into makeup. I'll be on and off of camera grabbing product, but I will be talking through it, and I'm going to do the whole face. My mom does not like a dramatic looking makeup. However, she's kind of agreed for me to do whatever I want today, which is nice. So dun dun dun, you're in trouble. So we're just going to jump right in. So the first product I'm going to use on her skin is by Becca, and it is the Skin Love Glow Elixir. So this is one of my favorite products. If you guys have seen any of my previous posts, I love this. It's a super hydrating, glowy oil. You'll notice right when I put it on my mom's skin, her skin immediately kind of glows more. It feels more hydrated, and it's also a long-term treatment. So just going off camera for a second to do a few pumps. I'm gonna do a couple dropper full like that onto her face. So just kind of gently massaging this into the skin. How's this feeling, Judy?
It feels wonderful.
And she is not being paid to say these things, so trust me, my mom is not afraid to share her opinion, which is nice, sometimes. So, I don't know if you guys can see this, but she has a nice glow immediately to the skin. And we'll do some before and after photos as well, so you guys will see the before look and what the magic of makeup can do. And then really quickly, I'm also going to go in with eye cream. So the one that I'm using today is by Origins. This one's all about brightening up the eyes. It's called Mega Bright. So I'm just going to add a little bit, look right up for me, to the eye area. So you guys will notice I actually like to massage eye cream in, which is a little bit different. A lot of people say to pat it in. I like to massage it because I feel like that actually kind of helps with puffiness. So if there's any puffiness under the eyes, it will help to drain out that puffiness. I also feel like it works that eye cream in a little bit better as well. So nice and bright, nice and hydrated. Let's start makeup now. Woohoo! So first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go in and do my mom's eyes first. This is a great little tip and trick for you guys. If you're kind of worried about the eyeshadow falling, anything like that, you can go in and start with eye makeup before you do the rest of your face. That way you're not disturbing the beautiful canvas you've already created with foundation and concealer. Some people like to do it opposite. There's no right or wrong. I'm just going to do it this way today. All of my products have also been nice and sanitized, and so have my brushes, so I can just apply things right to Judy, the supermodel's face. So first thing I'm going to apply to the eyes is actually by NARS. I believe they don't make this specific formula in liner, but they do make a very similar formula. This is just a nice purple eyeliner. So my mom has a nice grayish blue tone to her eyes. However, I feel like if we play with some different undertones, we can almost bring out an aquatic type of effect to our eyes. So bring out maybe a touch of green. So let's try that. What I'm going to do, because my mom does have, just like me, a little bit of a deeper set eye, we want to really kind of brighten the eye up. So I'm going to tight line her eyes with this. So that means I'm going to go right up in underneath the lash line rather than above the lash line. So the reason I love the NARS liners, and even their new formula, they glide on really easy, and once they set, they set. So you don't have to worry about them kind of running all over the face. I've used this on my mom before, like at my brother's wedding and things like that, and it stayed on. She looked amazing all night long. All right, so let's just jump right in. I'm gonna have you put your chin up and look down at the floor. And again, I'm going to go right into the lash line with this. I like to activate it a little bit on the back of my hand first. So lifting up her lash line. And I'm swiping this right into the lash line. Give her a little break for a minute. Now my mom's a contact wearer, so knowing that, I will be giving her little breaks on the eyes because I don't want the contacts to dry out. And everyone tends to have a little bit of one eye that's a little bit more sensitive. So keep that in mind if you're doing this technique on somebody. You may go nice and easy on one eye and then have to battle with them a little bit to do the other eye. So lean forward a little bit so they can see. You can already see the dramatic difference in the lash line and how that lifts and opens the eye. It also kind of makes your eye look a lot brighter. What do you think?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you can definitely see the difference. All right, you can get back comfortable again. So chin up again for me and look down at the ground. And I'm just, again, swiping this right into that lash line. Get that product in there. Be confident when you do this too. If you're not confident, I think a client can feel that kind of lack of confidence and get a little nervous too. So chin up, just look down for me. So I think this is also a great technique in the land of makeup for masks. Eyes are going to be the one thing that we do see on everyone, so why not make them stand out a little bit more? So look straight at the camera for me so they can all see. I feel like we need just a little bit more on this eye. Also keeping in mind the eye shape. So if someone has like an eye that's a little downturned on the outer edge, maybe adding a little more to that outer edge to do more of a lifting motion. All right, that was easy, right?
Yeah.
It didn't feel weird.
No, not at all.
So now we're going to move on to building this eye look with a little bit of shadow. I'm going to play with a couple of different textures and finishes on her eyes as well. So the first thing I'm going to go in with, sorry for leaning into the camera, but yeah, of course you want to see my face too. First thing I'm going to do is by Becca, and this is the Light Gleam eyeshadow. These are really nice. They have one side that's a base shade that you can actually use alone if you want to, or you can use the shimmer overlay over it. These definitely are a nice, even primer for your eyeshadow. So I'm gonna play with these, but then I'm gonna actually add powder shadow over it to build up the look. The shade that I'm gonna use is called Lunar. So it's a nice neutral tone, great for anybody. I'm gonna go in with the base shade. So the wand is nice and thick on this. And I'm going to just swipe a little bit onto the back of my hand. Get a good amount of product on there because we're going to be blending this out with a brush. So let's grab the brush I'm going to use. I'm going to use a fuller kind of like blending brush for this. I feel like this diffuses out a creamy shadow like this really nicely. So let's just go in with the brush, chin up just a little bit, and I'm going to have you look down at the floor. I'm going to apply this, and I hope you guys can see this okay. I'm going to pat it onto the lid, across the whole lid, and I like to try to work as much as I can with someone's eyes open because I feel like that way you can see the shape of the eye a lot better. When someone starts to close up their eye, you're not going to see the shape of their eye as much, and you may go deeper into areas that you don't necessarily want to. Remember, our whole effect that I'm trying to get with my mom's eyes today is to open them up. So if she's closing her eye and I go too far up into that crease, or if I go too deep in the crease, it's going to immediately close her eye up. So the other side, adding a little bit of this color, patting and swiping kind of at the same time. I'm going right to the inner corner, not into the deepest area, but where the lashes kind of end is where I'm ending. This could be it. We could do this and throw some mascara on and her eyes could be done. That's not very me, and that's not what I'm going to do for this video today, but just know that at any point in this eye look, we could throw mascara on and probably stop, and it should be good to go. All right, so look straight at the camera for me. Even that, you can see it brightens up her eyes really nicely, and she has no mascara on, and it almost looks like she has mascara on because of that tight lighting technique. All right, let's keep going. I'm going to just wipe a little bit of that product off my hand, and we're going to go in with some powder shadow now, just to add a little more shape to the eye. Now, I have a whole palette here of NARS shadows from my many years of being a NARS boy. I'm gonna go in and actually play with this duo down here. This is called Charade, depending on who it is that's saying it. But I like this tone for today's look because you get this nice neutral cooler tone, has a little touch of plum, and then you get this neutral other tone that almost has like a touch of pink in it, which is nice. So my mom's gonna be really nice and hold this for me while I work with it. And I'm gonna grab my brush that I know I'm gonna definitely work with today. And I'm gonna work with an angled eyeshadow brush. Hopefully you guys can see that well. So you can see it has a nice point on one end. It's flatter. So this way we can do a lot of our eyeshadow work. First thing I'm gonna do is go into this lighter shade right here. So the lighter part of the duo. And I'm gonna use the flat side of the brush. Let's grab that. I'm also gonna get a little bit on the tip of the brush and you'll see why in a minute. So I always press powders into the back of my hand so it doesn't fall everywhere. It also gets your powder into the brush. So that way, when you're applying, you're getting an even diffused application. Sorry to have my hands in front of your face. A lot of times when we pick up shadows or even powders, they kind of poof all over the place. This stops the poof. All right, so I'm gonna have you put your chin up again for me, but I'm gonna have you look down at the ground a little bit. So we're gonna go in with the flat side of this brush. And we're gonna press this right over that base shadow that we just did. Now, remember I did mention that we're gonna use the tip of the brush, we're gonna apply color there. The reason I did that is because when I'm pressing this into this area, it's softly applying that into the crease. I don't want like a hard crease when we're trying to open up the eye. So this is gonna prevent that hard crease as well. We could also then flip this brush and use that tip and diffuse this color up a little bit more. Do you feel like this is something you could do, Mother?
I was going to ask you about that.
So I think this is an easy technique, honestly. It's kind of like, it makes it look like you put a lot more work into your shadow than you actually did. So these little quick tips and tricks and techniques, I think are easy ones for anyone to be able to use, including you.
That would make a great book.
What, tips and tricks and techniques?
Yeah.
Maybe I'll write one. So I'm gonna actually use the same brush. So a lot of times when I'm doing makeup, I'm like in a rush. I have like a large bridal party, or even when I've been backstage at Fashion Week, it's like quick. And we don't want hard lines in makeup. So using the same brush sometimes is great because then you're kind of already naturally blending these shadows before you even apply them. So let's go in. We're going to use the tip of the brush again.
What color is that?
This is going to be the plummy shade. I love how my mom's making this into a personal makeup lesson. That's cute. And then I'm going to, again, press this in. Chin up a little bit. And then I'm going to have you look straight ahead. So my technique with this is when you have your client look straight ahead, almost like they're looking into a mirror, you naturally see that bone structure of the eye. When they close, remember, you're probably going to go a little lower. So I like to have their eyes open and looking straight ahead. This deeper shade is going to be slightly blended to this outer corner of the eye and then in through the crease. And even though this is a deeper shade, it's not looking dark and deep like it's closing up her eye. It's actually rounding out her eye and lifting it. You're getting an eye lift today, Mom.
Oh, good.
So again, I'm gonna have you just lean forward just a little bit so they can see. You can see the lift that it's having, that it's not looking heavy on the outer corner. It's also not looking heavy through her crease. All right. So I'm gonna do the same thing that we just did, but on the other eye. Now, keep in mind while you're doing this technique also, that if your client has an eye that naturally downturns or is heavy through here and turns downward, don't follow their natural bone structure all the way out because that will drag the eye down. You want to keep it up higher a little bit. So like my mom doesn't really turn, she's not downturned eye. So I'm following her natural bone, but I am still bringing it further up. This is a great thing to teach your clients as well, and really keep in mind, I've never met a woman in 22 years that says, I don't want my eyes to look bigger and brighter or younger. It's a great way to do bigger, brighter, younger eyes. All right, so those shadows are done. Does that mean we couldn't go in and add more? We could absolutely make this even more dramatic very easily, but keeping in mind who my mom is, easy of application, and also, you won't get offended, but the age of your client, we want to keep it young and fresh and light and bright. So the more dark we add, sometimes we can take that away. All right, so I'm gonna get rid of my brush and we're gonna go in and play with mascara. My mom is not a mascara wearer, which drives me nuts, like absolutely nuts, because she has great lashes. So we're gonna play with some mascara. You'll see a huge difference just with one coat of mascara. I'm gonna just grab my mascara. So I actually was able to get a little sample of the Hourglass Mascara, which I have not tried. So I'll be trying it for the first time on camera with you. This is the Hourglass Unlocked Mascara. So we're gonna see if it unlocks nice length and volume and beauty to the lashes. If I can get it out of this box. Give me 1 second. All right, so let's try it. My little tip and trick with mascara, especially when we've done a tight liner in the lash line, we're gonna wanna get that mascara really close to that tight lined eyeliner. So we're gonna go really close to the base of the lash. Let's take a look at what the brush looks like. It's interesting. So let me get up close for you. It's almost like a plastic comb brush, which is nice. So we'll see how this goes. All right. So what I have clients do is look at my shoulder. I'm gonna have you do the same thing. Just turn, look right here for me. I always pull up. I'm getting really close to her base of her lash. Wow. Actually, I'm gonna say I like this mascara already, because I'm barely putting anything on her, and the way it's emphasized her lashes is really beautiful. So way to go, Hourglass. You did great with your mascara. Wow. Again, it looks like insanely beautiful. It's like lifting, your lashes are crazy in a good way. It's funny because, like, you know, you get used to seeing your mom in a certain way. And like I said, my mom does not like to wear mascara, so it's crazy to see her with mascara. I can't even remember the last time we've done makeup on you. It's been a long time. Mostly because of COVID reasons, but... Okay, let's go in and do the other eye. Judy, you're gonna be so glamorous today.
You need to take me out.
Well, we can't go out. We'll have a pretend night out. We'll order some takeout. And then we'll put something on the TV that like reminds us of being out. So again, I'm going really close to the base of the lash. I'm working against her natural lash because, like my lashes, my mom's lashes seem to have a mind of her own. So they're actually going in the opposite direction of where we want them to go. The outer corner lashes are turning in. So by going to the base of the lash and then dragging outward, I'm trying to straighten these out a little bit. I get a question a lot with eyelash curlers. For me, it's not a must unless it is a must, if that makes sense. So if someone has really stick straight lashes and you're really trying to get some drama from the lash, absolutely do a lash curler. But my mom doesn't need it. I also know that in real life, a lot of women won't do it. So if you can get a mascara that does that job for you, great. All right. Get that mascara going. Look straight ahead. Wow, it's so funny how like dramatic your lashes are. Just to drive my mom crazy, I want to add a little more. Because again, she's not a mascara wearer, so. And it's funny, if you guys saw my makeup battle that I did live on Instagram, I think it was 2 weeks ago now, we were asked like, so where did our inspiration for makeup come from? And mine was my mom. When I was little, I would watch her do her makeup, and specifically when she would put her blush on. Remember that this was like the 80s, so makeup style was a little different. So my mom would like put on that blush. And that fascinated me. So this is my inspiration. This is what originally got me into makeup before I even realized I was into makeup. Do you remember me watching you do your makeup in the bathroom?
I do.
She never would have thought I'd be a makeup artist, though. Because then I'd go out and play in the mud. But it's funny to me thinking of my mom then with, like, you know, her blush. And she does wear makeup every day now, but it always baffles me why she doesn't want to wear mascara.
I don't like putting it on.
Well, we'll have to get used to that. I'm gonna try forever to get her to wear mascara. All right, so her eyes are pretty much done. We might play a little bit more when we're done. Actually, let's add a little touch of that shimmer side of that Becca shadow. Again, because I know my mom's not a shimmer girl like this, we have to do it, right? So again, we're gonna do that Becca shimmer eyeshadow overlay, the light gleam, and again, the shade is Lunar. These are really pretty. So to show you guys on camera what they do, it's like a little brush. So think of like a lip brush applicator. So I'm gonna do it a little different. I'm actually gonna apply this to the back of my hand. I like to use my hand as my palette. I feel like I have more control that way with everything. And then I'm gonna go in with a brush. So the brush I'm gonna use is the same brush that I used before for the creamier side. Now I'm gonna chin up a little bit and look down for me. Now, when we think about my mom's eyes, where's the area that we should add a little more light? I would say right on the center of the lid. Now, let's just stop for a second because I need to talk to you guys about something. Nothing drives me more crazy than people telling a more mature woman that they cannot wear something with sparkle. Let's stop that now. Let's end that myth. It is not true. I think it's all about moderation and on where you add that sparkle and shine. Now, would I put glitter all over my mom's face? Probably not. But adding that little touch of glitter grabs the light, bounces it back out, and adds youth. Think about youthful skin, youthful things. They have a glow, they have a shine. Make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right, so let's add a little bit of that chin up, look down. A little bit of that shimmer here. Really pretty. I could totally have fun with this too, because I could go in and I could, not on her, but on, you know, for fun makeup, I could go in and do like a gallon of this for a really dramatic, beautiful shimmer eye. All right, that looks so pretty. Lean forward for everyone. And chin up and look down for me. Look down at the floor. Perfect. All right, so you guys can see, nice and light, but still bringing out the eyes really beautifully. So let's move on. And we're gonna move on to complexion now. So complexion can be really tricky on some people. I've done my mom's makeup a lot in the past, and we've played with a lot of different finishes and textures. And I hope you don't mind me saying this, but my mom has some concerns with texture on her skin. When I say texture, I mean some fine lines. I mean, you would never guess it, but she's older than she looks. Thank God I got her genes. But she does have concerns with fine lines on the skin and some texture on the skin. So we're gonna play today with a combination I thought would be really good on textured skin. And both of the products are from Becca. The first one that I'm gonna use is the Skin Love Primer from Becca. This is all about brightening and blurring the skin. Again, if you've seen my videos in the past, you've seen me use this because I love this primer. The reason I picked this for my mom, though, is not because I love it, but because of what she wants her skin to look like. So think about what we're doing. We want to address texture. Brightening and blurring the skin is great for texture on the skin. So let's go in and apply this. I'm going to use a small amount on the back of my hand. I don't overuse, so you guys will never see me doing the trend that you're seeing on a lot of social media, meaning I'm not going to pour product onto a face just to pour product onto a face. I'm going to actually show you guys always the perfect amount of product to use. So that's about the size of a pea. I'm going to throw it at her afterwards. And then I'm going to use my fingers. So fingers are okay to use when you're doing makeup. Just because we're makeup artists doesn't mean we have to use a brush for every single thing we do. I'm going to target this primer through the center of the face first. So areas where she has the most concern with texture, and also areas where I really want a little extra smoothing action. So the center of the face is always a good place to go in with primer. This is not made to go all the way up under the eye, so I'm not going there. So the chin, she has a little bit of texture through the chin. Get any areas where your client or you notice that there's, texture that needs to be smoothed. And a little bit through the forehead. Notice I didn't slap primer all over her face just to slap primer all over her face. Her skin's beautiful and smooth here. We don't need to add primer there. The foundation that I'm going to use today too is a long wear foundation, so we don't need the primer for the means of keeping your foundation on longer. We need it for those other things, smoothing out texture. How's that feel on your skin? Good? Good.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna go in now and prep the under eye with a little under eye primer as well. So, sorry I keep stepping off camera, but I gotta grab product. The under eye primer I'm gonna use is also from Becca. So this is the under eye, AntiFatigue under eye primer from Becca. It looks green, it's not. The reason I like this is because it will instantly smooth out under the eye, brighten up under the eye as well. And then for puffiness, it actually deflects that puffiness, which is nice. So I'm gonna go in with my finger, swirl that right into that product. Maybe look right up and get that hair out of your eye. And I'm gonna press this right into the under eye area. So remember I said that face primer didn't go under the eyes? This is why, because we wanna use something that's specifically formulated for your under eye area for this. So just a little bit under the eye. That's prepped. Now we can go have fun with, ooh, I just dropped something. Now we can go in and we can start with foundation. I'm gonna show you a technique first. I've actually never contoured my mom's face. I don't even think she knows what contour is. Fine, not a big deal. So what contour is contour is gonna go in and really kind of carve out the bone structure a little bit more. For a lot of people, they do this to slim the face. Some people do this just to make their bone structure stand out more. Some people just do it to do it. So we're gonna go in and do that first. So what I'm gonna use is actually a concealer that's gonna be darker than her skin underneath the foundation. Now you can do a contour after foundation, but I like a soft, subtle contour. Anyone who's ever worked with me, known me for a while with makeup in the industry, knows my saying. It should not look like you have 2 Snicker bars on your cheeks when you contour. It should look like a natural shadow and a natural bone structure. So that's what we're gonna do. So I'm gonna go in with a little bit of concealer darker than her skin shade. And I'm gonna have you turn this way for me. So when you're playing with bone structure, my mom's bone structure is actually very similar to mine. She has this great cheekbone here. So the key is not to start it in the center. I'm actually going to think about where the ear would connect to the face. I'm going to start her contour there and do a few dots. You don't want to go too far, and then I'm going to swipe. Because if we went too far, then you start to look like a skeleton. You don't want to have it connect from the side of the face all the way to the mouth and have that skeleton effect. The other areas we could contour in the face is the jawline. Again, make sure you go a little bit behind the ear because you don't want to look like you are the bearded lady. And then the other area we can contour a little bit on my mom, right through that area, the forehead. Now, turn this way for me. Do a little bit right in the hairline as well. Now, we could contour my mom's nose. I personally like my mom's nose and the shape of her nose, probably because I have the same exact shape of my nose. I think big noses are wonderful. So we're not going to contour my mom's nose today. I will say this, be very careful when you contour the nose. If you do not do it perfectly, you will make yourself look like you have a crooked nose as well. So keep that in mind. So I'm going to put this down just so I can contour this one side, show you guys the difference on what it looks like, and then I'll do the other side. So for a brush, I'm actually going to use a NARS brush. Again, I think they redid their brushes recently, but if they haven't, or if you can get your hand on this brush, I highly recommend it. It's actually one of their complexion brushes. I'm going to use this to buff out this contour. So I'm going to have you turn this way for me. So again, remember we started this right up at where the ear connects to the face. So I'm going to buff this back and forth a little bit. It looks scary right now because it is so dark. But remember, this is going to be under her makeup. So it's not going to be like a Snicker bar on her face. Although my mom does like a good Snicker bar. But and then I'm going to go...
I don't like wearing them though.
Yeah, we don't like to wear them. We like to eat them. So I'm going under that jawline area and then buffing down. A little tip and trick for you guys is, let's say you do your contour and you're like, oh my God, I did too much. If you're doing this technique before your foundation, I'll show you a little tip and trick that I've used before too, to save myself when I've been a little heavy-handed. And turn this way for me. And then I'm also gonna go right along this hairline and make sure that you buff into the hairline. There's nothing worse than when someone does a contour and then they have a white ring around their face because they haven't buffed it into the hairline. So you may or may not have seen that before on somebody. So let's say, you know, my mom's at home and she's done this contour, which I don't think she'll ever do. But if she did, and then she's like, oh my God, I just used way too much product. A little tip and trick for you, take your primer. A little bit of primer. Put a little bit of that. And we're gonna use the primer actually to erase some makeup or to diffuse some makeup. So turn that way for me again. Going in with primer. Look at it. It immediately diffuses this out. And the reason I say use primer rather than, your hair is wild, rather than using makeup remover, if we've done makeup already, and we've done her skincare and we've prepped it and it feels beautiful, looks beautiful, and then we go in and we use makeup remover, we've now just disturbed all that prepping that we've done. Primer is not going to disturb it. It's going to keep it nice and prepped so you can keep going with your makeup. The worst is when you feel like, oh, my makeup's looking good, or my client's makeup's looking good, like at a wedding job or something, and then all of a sudden you have to start over. All right. So that looks much softer now. I'm going to do the same thing along the jawline so you can see the effect on the jawline as well. I'm struggling with this cap today. So maybe just put your chin up a little bit. So you can see the jawline contour. I know what some of you guys are probably thinking right now too is like, what the hell is he doing to his mom? She's looking a little like orangey crazy. I promise you she won't. I would never do that to her. So see that, buffed that out and toned it down really nicely. So we're gonna go on the other side of the face and contour it out again. So turn this way for me. So remember, we're gonna start right along where the ear connects to the face. So right through here. Gonna go right down her jawline. I'm sorry, her cheekbone, and then her jawline. And then a little bit through the temple. I actually really like the effect this primer had in buffing out the contour. So I'm probably gonna do the same thing over here again, just because I think it like created this really pretty effect. It made the contour look like it's coming from her skin rather than makeup, which I liked. My mom's probably in her head right now being like, what the heck? I haven't heard of all this stuff. It's funny because you would think like being a makeup artist mom, she would know all this stuff, but she knows a lot. She's come a long way, I would say. You enjoy makeup more than you did before.
I do.
For sure.
Especially if you're doing it.
Yeah. Well, I think everyone likes it when someone else is doing their makeup. Same thing like with hair, right? So a little bit of that primer. Let's buff out some of this foundation with that primer. Okay, this is going to be my new favorite thing to do on clients. Turn that way for me again. So really pretty. I mean, this works so good. Now we're going to go in with a little bit of highlight. A lot of people use concealer for this. I will use a little bit of concealer for this. Again, I'm not that typical like cake on makeup person, but I just want to diffuse this out a little bit. So I'm going to take a little bit of concealer. This is actually the Becca Ultimate Coverage Concealer. The shade I'm using on her, oh, I can't see. I don't know what shade it is. I'll let you guys know later. So a little bit there, A little bit here, because I'm going to go in and brighten up under her eyes too. But I'm going to use something else for that. I'm going to use the same brush. Boom, 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 boom. It helps if you make the noises I make while you're doing makeup too. And again, remember guys, I'm not doing like the typical makeup you may see. Not that there's anything wrong with it. It's just not my aesthetic as an artist. And I also know my mom's aesthetic as a woman. So she's not going to want that cakey, heavy foundation-y look. So let's go in and brighten her under eye before we move forward. Hold that for me, please.
Sure.
So the product I'm going to use is a product you guys probably have heard of. You've seen me use for sure if you watched my videos. It is the Becca Under Eye Brightening Corrector. This went viral on TikTok and like Becca sold out of it instantly. It's awesome. I love that it immediately brightens up under the eyes. It has this like soft peachy apricot tone with a little bit of glow to it, so it just cancels out darkness. So my mom's darkness really lies within the inner corners of her eyes, so I'm going to go in with this and diffuse out that darkness for her. This is a finger product, so I'm going to go in with my finger. We know that I like to use the back of my hand as my palette. So if you just turn slightly that way and chin up. And let's go in. So I'm going to go in and brighten right up in that inner corner. Now, if you're not comfortable using your finger, especially on somebody else, we can use a brush for this as well. So I'm going to show you how to use a brush with this as well. So we just use a little concealer brush. I also think a good shadow brush sometimes works really well with a product like this. So I'm hitting that inner corner of her eye. And blending it out. Now look up for me. When she has a little bit of blue underneath her eye, but not completely under the entire eye. So I'm keeping this more towards that inside corner of the eye. Look right at the camera for me. So move a little bit forward so you can see the brightness that that kind of has on this eye compared to this eye. It actually, like, I think lifts her eye. It makes it look younger. She's going to want this. She's probably making a list in her head of what she's going to steal from me when she leaves. So I'm going to have you look up. So if she had this at home, or when she has this at home, she'll use her finger for this. But again, I'm using a brush because I think a lot of times when we're near someone's eye, it's nice to go in with a brush. Although I do think the warmth of the finger with this product is best. So I will go in with my finger just to kind of melt it a little bit. I don't think she needs concealer under her eye now. What do you think? Would you put concealer over this?
You asking me?
Yes.
No.
Yeah, I think we don't have to put concealer over this. I think she looks nice and bright. You're looking like a little hottie, Mom. We're going to go find my mom a husband.
No, thank you.
Okay, we're going to go not find my mom a husband. I'm just going to wipe my hands so we can keep moving forward. We're going to move on to foundation now. So the foundation I'm going to play with today is also a Becca foundation. Now, I'm going to do a foundation that I think would be really nice on her, which is the Becca Ultimate Coverage 24-Hour Wear Foundation. The shade I'm using on her is Cashew. It's a nice, more, I think, neutral base. It actually matches her really perfectly. So this will be a nice full coverage foundation. However, keeping in mind, my mom is not a full coverage girl generally. We're going to use it in a way to sheer it out or make it look more natural. But what I do like about this foundation is that it's full coverage, but it doesn't look or feel heavy. So with this, I like to shake this foundation up every time. I'm going to use the back of my hand, and I'm going to do a small pump of this. We can add more if we need it, but a little bit of this goes a very, very long way. That brush that I was using, we can use that, but I'm going to switch out my brush, and I'm going to switch it out to this brush here. So this brush is actually by Juice Beauty, which is a skincare company. I don't even know if they sell this brush anymore, but I love this brush. I have like 5 of them. I'm going to use this for the foundation. So I'm going to go right into this foundation. You can already see like the amount of product, you only need a little bit. So I'm going to start out in the center of the face. My mom gets really red through the center of her face, So I'm going to start this out through here. So the nose specifically is one of the most red areas of her face. And I'm going to buff this foundation in with this brush. Oh, I think we also just found you new foundation. My mom has a lot of freckles, which I love, and I'm jealous I never got. So I don't want to cover her freckles. I want them to show, but we just want to even out her skin tone. So you'll notice in this area, I'm stippling this foundation in. That will give you a little more coverage with it for that one area of really redness in her nose. Otherwise, I'm gonna buff this a little bit more. And again, right up through the center of the face first. Generally, that's where someone would want a little more coverage or has a little more concern with their skin. That looks really great. So it's funny because I'm so used to seeing my mom with like more tan. She has this beautiful tan skin most of the year, but with this year being so weird, she doesn't have the tan, but we'll add that in. So now I'm going to go in and kind of buff those edges of the contour. Because again, the contour should be subtle. It shouldn't look like a crazy Snicker bar, different skin tone type of situation. Chin up a little bit. We're going to go right down here, apply this foundation. I don't bring foundation all the way down to the neck, but I am going to diffuse out that one area that we did contour. Turn this way for me. Yep, this way. So again, bringing that foundation. I like foundation that still looks like skin, and I like when someone looks like them, just enhanced. So this is what this foundation is doing. It's giving a nice enhancement to my mom, but it's not looking like a cake face full of makeup. Look straight ahead for us. So she looks nice and even. It matches her neck, which is great. So she's not looking like a floating head, which happens a lot with the wrong shade of foundation. How's it feel on your skin? Nice and light?
It feels good, yeah.
Good. So we could go in and do, concealer through this area if we wanted to. I feel a lot of times with this foundation specifically, unless you're looking for that full coverage, you don't really need concealer with it. Now, if she had like a blemish, sure, we could go in and do that. If she wanted more concealing under the eyes, we could do that too. But I think this is perfect for her.
It doesn't feel like makeup.
Perfect. And it doesn't look like makeup, which is awesome. And like I said, it is full coverage though. So like you're seeing, there's an opacity to it, but the way we've prepped the skin underneath, it doesn't look like that cakey faced, full coverage traditional makeup that a lot of people are used to. So let's move on, shall we? So now we're going to go in and we're going to add a little bit of setting powder. So the powder I'm going to use is a new one from Becca too. It's actually a pressed powder. I'm going to grab it. It's actually called Light Shifter. And the Light Shifter powder is really great. So it's really pretty compact. I love that it's mirrored in every side, so you can look at yourself all day long. The reason I'm going to use this and the reason I love this powder is because it's really soft. It actually has hyaluronic acid in it, so it binds moisture to the skin. And then it has different skincare built into it as well. It also kind of brightens the skin because it has light deflectors in it, is what I call it. But it basically bounces light off of the skin. So it's not going to look heavy and powdery. So because that would totally contradict what we're trying to do here, but it will set your makeup. So what I'm going to use to apply this product is something a little different. It's actually a brush by It Cosmetics, and it's a flat brush. So you can probably see that, a little flatter. I'm going to go right in with this product. And again, remember my technique, press it into the back of the hand. I don't powder the whole face, but areas that maybe get a little oily, a little shiny, or you feel like you've applied a little more makeup to, you probably want to go in and set that. Usually it's the center of the face. I'm going to have you look right up. Make sure you always set under eyes. I don't care what product it is. I have never seen a product not crease under the eyes. It's natural. This is one of the most moving areas of the face. So of course a creamy product will move. So look right up for me. I'm going to press and roll under the eyes. Perfect. And then right through the center of the forehead. So again, she looks really soft and natural. Like she doesn't look powdery and cakey. And I'll be taking after photos and posting them along with this video most likely. So you'll see. I'll also have her get closer to the camera when we're done. So powder is done. Let's move on to add a little more dimension to the skin. And we're gonna do that with a bronzer and a highlighter and a blush. We're gonna go back to blush, which is where I was inspired to begin with from my mom. So I dropped my bronzer, that's what I dropped earlier, so I'm just gonna grab that real quick. Let's hope she didn't break, which I don't think she did. So let's start with our bronzer. Our bronzer is gonna be by Becca, and it is the Sunlit Bronzer in Ipanema Sun. It cracked a little bit, but it's still good to go. And I'm gonna go in with a brush from NARS. It's a famous brush from NARS. It's the Yaccio brush. I love this brush. I have like 8 of these. It's technically was made, I believe, for cheeks, but I like to use it for bronzer as well. So I'm gonna go in with Ipanema Sun Bronzer. The reason I like this bronzer is because it's not orangey, it's actually golden. It has a nice golden tone. It's not matte or super sparkly. It has a glow to it, which is really pretty. So let's go in, just add a little bronzer to the forehead, to the cheekbones. Turn this way for me, again. So basically it's the areas of the skin or the face where the sun would naturally hit. Cute little way to think of it is, think of a butterfly on your face. And then I'm gonna buff that down a little bit. So anytime you want to buff makeup out, a good big brush like this is great. Look straight ahead. Chin down. Pretty. All right. Use the same brush, and I'm gonna go in with some blush. So I'm gonna use Flower Child blush from Becca. I like to brighten and lift the face, so I'm gonna go from, turn this way for me, right up here. My mom's phone's going off, and we're gonna sweep upwards and into the temple. This adds more shape to the face as well. I like to add a little bit to the chin, into the nose, into the forehead too. Just like a light dusting, because it adds like a warmth. When we blush, it doesn't necessarily always just stay in one spot. And I think looking at her, she might need a little more bronzer on the chin. There we go. And then I'm gonna teach you a trick with setting spray at the end too, which I think you guys will really like. So let's highlight, get a little glow. We're gonna highlight with the Becca Pressed Powder Highlighter, Shimmering Skin Perfector, Rose Gold. My mom picked this out herself. High points of the cheeks. I think this is really pretty. I think some people could actually wear this just as a blush for fairer skins. It would be really pretty. A little bit on the bridge of the nose. I don't do the whole nose, and that weird kind of like drop on the center of the forehead is weird to me. All right. Our finishing touch is going to be lips. And to keep it really simple today, and brows. I'm going to just do one sweep of Swell. This is Becca's Plumping Lip Balm. These are great. It's called Hydrolite. And again, the shade is Swell. Open just slightly for me. So these are nice because they really hydrate. They feel really lightweight. They're tinted, but they're buildable. Now, I know we're wearing masks a lot today, but I still think it's nice to have an option for a lip color that also gives you moisture. I'll rub that together a little bit. How's that feel? Nice and moisturized? Yeah, okay. Yeah, it gives you like a little tint of color. Brows are a big thing for Miss Judy here. She hates seeing anything white or gray in her brow. So I'm going to use the Charlotte Tilbury Brow Gel. This shade is Supermodel. So it's just a little brow gel. I love this brow gel because it has the tiniest little brush on it, so you can get a really nice, precise application of this. So let's go ahead and do that. Chin up a little bit. And I'm gonna start at the arch area of the brow. I actually shaped my mom's brows earlier, which was fun. Little plucking. And I'm just following the natural kind of growth of the brow. A brow gel is a great option for anyone who doesn't want a strong brow, but wants to define them out, or in my mom's case, cover any like white hairs. So again, I'm following the natural shape of the brow. I like this color. It gives her a nice strength to her brow, but again, without looking like Sharpie eyebrows. Unless you want Sharpie eyebrows, I can do that for you. Yeah, that just framed really nicely. All right, so I did promise you guys I would do a little tip and trick with setting spray. So I'm gonna grab my setting spray and I'm gonna show you this really cool trick that I have learned to love. A lot of people just miss setting spray on the face. I'm gonna actually use it and buff makeup with it at the same time. So this is the Skin Love setting spray from Becca. I'm gonna go in with that buffing brush that we already played with a little bit, the It Cosmetics brush, this one here. So I'm gonna mist and then I'm gonna buff. So I'm gonna have you close your eyes. The reason I like this setting spray is because it has no alcohol in it, which is nice because a lot of the setting sprays that are out there have alcohol, which dry out the skin a lot. How's this feel on your skin? Nice and
feels good.
Nice and hydrating, and I feel like she could use a little more light in the center of her face, specifically on the forehead. So I'm just gonna add a touch of light there with a little bit of the foundation. But her skin is glowing. You'll see when I bring her closer to the camera that her skin has a really beautiful glow to it. So a little more of that foundation just through the center of the forehead. There we go, perfect. I was feeling like there was like almost a little too much bronzer there. So again, remember, there's tips and tricks that if you go a little heavy with makeup, you can tone that right down. And because I just sprayed that setting spray, turn this way for me. It's fine to kind of play with this makeup a little bit. Little tips and tricks, guys. I will always give you little tips and tricks. I feel like you're looking beautiful.
I do too.
Yeah?
Yeah,
You like it?
I do.
All right, so I'm gonna have her go a little closer to the camera. Turn to the side. So you can see you're getting that nice shape. Wow, actually you look stunner, Mom. You look beautiful. You know, I think it's great that we brought you closer to the camera because now I think the makeup, you can see the translation of the makeup a little bit better. Let's take her hair down and we'll have her feel a little more sassy and, you know, ladylike. Fluff this up a little bit. All right, look at you. All right, so this is my mom, all made up, looking beautiful, hopefully feeling beautiful. I will do a full description of what I used in my little post. Oh, there. This is how you know a woman feels good when she gets her makeup done. She fixes her hair and focuses on that because the rest she knows looks good. So again, this is a quick makeup for my mom, for maybe a more mature woman, or even someone who just wants a soft, natural makeup or enhancement. I hope you guys learned something new and enjoyed this video. I know it's a little long, but I'll get better at making them short. I promise. But enjoy. Make sure you hit like and watch my next videos. Thanks, guys. Say bye.
Bye.